What's going on, everybody? This is Reaper, and I am back with another video. Alright, well, today we are going to be talking about my experience with PlayStation 5 in my first year of actual using it. And I gotta admit that that is actually quite interesting. But I gotta say that playing the first year on PS5 totally opened up my eyes to a whole bunch of different types of debates that I've gone over in the last 10 years or so. And I gotta admit that when we have these casuals, these hardcores, and these elites, it's kind of easy to actually get mixed up in the rhetoric and the actual BS that is actual fanboyism. But I got to admit that I actually did enjoy my first year on PlayStation. I scored over 1,000 hours. I scored over 57 games, and I am quite happy with my first year milestone. But it is actually quite interesting because the factor is that my Xbox rate still beat my PlayStation rate. So you guys all in those hating sections can basically take that fact and basically shove it up your beautiful uh, selves, because I gotta admit that the fact that my Xbox uh, hours 2,000, and the fact that I placed in the top 1% of players' usage is beautiful. So I gotta admit the Xbox is still better than PlayStation, but I love them both. So I don't really have a favorite, but it will just go from game to 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 game. $65, $75 each way. It don't really matter. But I also got PlayStation Plus subscription, so I have a whole bunch of free titles to use. And I also have Game Pass, so I can play Call of Duty for free and have all that fun without having to drop a dime, which is actually really good. But on the flip side of this, I got to admit that the games that I played on PlayStation were a lot harder in this year of milestone achievement than most other games on Xbox are. So I got to admit that the games on PlayStation did give me a run for my money. They did actually take me over each 40 hours to beat, so I am actually quite happy with that. I got my money's worth. It was beautiful. So, but I got to admit my favorite games for the year have to be Black Ops 6, Black Myth Wukong, Final Fantasy Rebirth, uh, Dragon Ball Z Sparkling Zero, and I also got to say the Rise of the Ronin was actually my also one of my favorites this year too. So I did play a lot of games. So I played over 100 games on Xbox. So that was actually quite interesting. But I played 57 on my PlayStation. So within the first year of purchase, I got 57 games to beat. I beat them all, and we are on the brink of going into 2025 with a whole bunch of new titles coming out. So that's going to be even better. And I got to admit, the games that I'm looking forward to this year are Assassin's Creed Shadows, Avowed, Doom, Dark Ages, and Dynasty Warriors Origins, which is actually what I'm going to get next. So I am actually looking forward to that entire roster of games coming in 2025, and I hope to Jesus Christ that the games actually do take longer this year coming in 2025 than they did in 2024, but we will see. So we will see what types of catalog both sides actually prop up. And I know a lot of people are also saying that the handheld on Xbox side is the future. I think that's part of the future. I don't think that's the full future, because you also got to remember what Phil Spencer said is that every game, every system, every platform that you play on is an Xbox. So Xbox Play Anywhere is still a thing. It is still the future. And coming in next generation, we will see how far that future actually does get us. So we will see. But I do not think the handheld is the end all be all. I think it's just part of the next step in I think it's the next step in Xbox's business catalog. I do not think it is the end all be all. So I think the end all be all for Xbox is going to be having a PC slash console hybrid that will allow all services to be used in one device. And that is what I personally think is coming in the next couple years for the next generation. So, and as we all know, the next generation of Xboxes will also support Steam. So when that happens, you will have a whole bunch of PC elites switching over to the hybrid, and then you will have a whole bunch of people still playing Game Pass. You will still have a whole bunch of people playing Call of Duty. You will still have a whole bunch of people playing all that stuff. So it will actually be a rather decent future, I think, because we will finally get into the PC market for consoles, and that is the end all be all in Phil Spencer's direction. So I think the fact that he's going to combine the PC and console hardware is actually a beautiful idea, and I think it will actually go very, very far in the future. But on the flip side of this, I think that most people don't really know what a true console gamer is anymore. And I got to admit that kind of goes in rhetorics all over the planet. So I got to admit, to have a true hardcore console gamer is just to have the boxes that you enjoy, have all the games at your disposal, and it doesn't matter which platform you play on, you're still playing games. So in the end, I think the true console hardcore is the one that always picks up the box, always picks up the games for it, and always, always, always gets their money's worth. But I got to admit that the amount of progress that Game Pass has made since the collection of Call of Duty is quite insane. So I got to admit that tactic did work for Microsoft. They made a shit ton of money off of Call of Duty this year, and I got to admit that was the right business choice to acquire Activision, acquire Blizzard, and immediately just put them into the Xbox catalog. So I think that's actually kind of really, really good. But I think that most people don't really know the difference between a casual and a hardcore no more, and I think that's kind of funny. But at the end of the day, the difference between a casual and a hardcore is, with a hardcore gamer, nothing stands in your way of playing games. Not family, not friends, not relationships, not marriage, not having children. All that stuff, basically, if you put that all to the side and just focus on your gaming habit, that's what makes you a true hardcore. But if you're a casual, then you automatically have a family, you automatically have children that you have to take care of, you have a wife that has you at your beck and call, and you don't have that much time in your personal life to actually game. That's what makes you a casual. If you have other responsibilities and other priorities over gaming, then that's what makes you a true casual. But if you are a hardcore and you care about nothing else but games, that's what makes you hardcore. And I think that is a message that everybody has to receive, because I think that some people consider themselves hardcore when in reality they're not. And I think that some people consider themselves casuals when they are not. So it really depends on how much time and effort you dedicate your life to gaming. And that is the true lesson that you gotta learn. You gotta learn that certain priorities are more important, but if you are a hardcore, then nothing is more important than gaming. Nothing. So that is my point. And a quick shout out to Doc185, because the factor that he gave me a shout out was actually kind of nice. And I got to admit that he didn't mention my name in the shout out, but he did actually mention what he said to me. So I did remember exactly what he said. So I was like, yeah, no, that was actually kind of funny. But anyway, I will catch you guys on the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I have a happy new year. Bye.